This is the new horror from the mind of Stephen King. Graveyard Shift. Good benefits. Early retirement.
What's up, you wild ghouls? Logan Myerz back here for Cinephellas.com doing more 31 Days of Horror, our favorite month here, Halloween season, revisiting a lot of old classic films and watching some films we've never seen for the first time. So this month has been fun so far. And tonight I'm diving into more of the King of Horror. It was just his birthday last month. I'm talking about Stephen King, that needs no introduction. We saw a huge boom of his novels being adapted in TV and movies in the 80s and early 90s. And tonight I'm going to be talking about Graveyard Shift, that came out in 1990. It's directed by Ralph S. Singleton, the only movie that he actually directed in his career. And I remember going to see this movie at the drive-in theater back in 1990 with my dad. My dad was a huge Stephen King fan, and the reason I got into Stephen King was because of him. And my dad was really excited to see this because he read the short novel by Stephen King, which I've never read, but I need to get around to that. And he was really excited, and after seeing the film, we were both pretty much disappointed. So to set up the film, we have a guy working down in the mill. He's down in the basement. He's the only guy down there that's running the machines. He's making friends with all the rats. He seems like he's gone a little crazy because he's talking to them like they're his students. So the guy's been going a little crazy, and I will have to say, working third shift for like 4 or 5 years, you start to go a little crazy because your sleep is all messed up. You're used to sleeping in the day and at night working. So this guy is definitely going nuts working at this place. And the introduction of the film, we get to see this rat and this sort of creature that ends up killing the guy and sets up the rest of the film. So David Andrews plays John Hall. He's the character they introduced early on in the film. He shows up at the textile mill looking for a job. He lost his wife. He's looking for a fresh start in Maine. He's overqualified for the position because, you know, he's college educated. You know, he's done some great things in his life, and he's kind of just looking for a job at this point, just getting out of his normal routine and moving up to Maine and having a fresh start after his wife passes away. So David Andrews, I've seen him in a bunch of films, and he's kind of lackluster in this character. Not really much to him. He's really quiet, really reserved. He just wants to go to work, do the job, and go home and hang out. And there's pretty much all there is to this character throughout the film. You don't really see him change too much. He's kind of the anti-hero. He's not really that exciting to watch on screen. And I think it has to do with a lot of the writing of the character. Then we get introduced to Stephen Mott. He's like the foreman, the manager at this mill in Maine. He's a real hard ass. Really has a thick New England accent, and at times it's hard to understand what the hell he's saying. I thought he was trying to pull off an accent from England, but it's more of like New England. And it was, at times, it's pretty comedic in this movie how over the top he goes. But he's like the hard ass foreman that ends up hiring John Hall, end up working the night shift because it's super hot in the day. That's why they work overnight in this mill that's super old, and it gets super hot in there. Puts him in the basement to take over the role and the position of the last person that ended up dying early on in the movie. I absolutely love Stephen Mott. He's the dad in the Monster Squad. It was great seeing him in a completely different role in Graveyard Shift, where he was a cop in the Monster Squad. He's a blue-collar foreman. He's running this company. He's just about making money. He doesn't care how dangerous this place is and what happens to previous employees. He kind of just covers it up and hires somebody else. So I really loved his character in this movie, and he just becomes more of a dick throughout the movie and doesn't really end well for him at the end of the movie. But one of the redeeming qualities of this movie is absolutely the practical effects. They obviously used a lot of rats in this movie to give it really that creepy, unsettling vibe that's going on in the basement. And then they also, the creature design of the rat/bat hybrid monster that they make in this movie is really well done. You only see glimpses of it throughout the movie. You don't really see like the whole body, but the practical effects and the monster design looked really top notch and one of the best aspects of the movie. With that being said, there's like a love interest like most movies. John Hall meets up with this woman, and it's just really forced, and they kind of forget about her throughout the movie. Like, hey, she's the love interest of John. She kind of takes a back seat in this movie, and they just kind of forget about her because this movie's all over the place. So Warwick essentially hires all these people to work over the 4th of July weekend, holiday weekend, clean up crew of the basement, clean up all the disgustingness about it. And it really sets up the rest of the film having to do with this huge creature that they introduce that's really picking them off one by one. They go into the basement. It's really dimly lit. It's a lot of water, a lot of sewage, really dirty, grimy. It really has a disgusting atmosphere about it and feeling to it, and it makes you want to take a shower watching what these characters go through. It's really hot in there, they're sweating, they're in like sewage, and they're really trying to clean up the shithole down in the basement of this textile mill, and it really sets up a great, kind of second and third act of all these characters having fun, but also trying to clean and make some money, and also some of them dying. And again, Warwick being the douche foreman, not really caring about the safety of his employees. He's really there just to keep them running and producing and making more money. He doesn't really care about them, considering all the people that have died on the job there, and they just kind of cover it up and nobody talks about it, which is really comedic. It's like, how many people have died in the graveyard shift having to do with the rats and this huge bat-like creature? Nobody really talks about that. They're like, oh, he just didn't work out in the position, so we'll hire some more until they die. But overall, Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, it definitely doesn't hold up. But again, in 1990, it wasn't that great to begin with. A lot of forgettable characters. The story's kind of lackluster. The whole atmosphere and creature design is really well done in this movie. It really gives it the horrific and terrifying feel that Stephen King is known for portraying in certain towns in Maine, and what people go through and the horrors they come across in their daily lives. And working the graveyard shift overnight, people start to go crazy, and when they're around rats and monsters, it's not going to end too well. For the monster look really cool. It's like a bat/rat hybrid. Even though the book, it was a huge rat, but this movie they kind of threw in the bat aspect, which is really well done as it kind of slides in and out of certain scenes in the film and how it kills people. I thought that was really well done, but most of the cast is really forgettable. I think Stephen Mott was probably one of the better performances, and Brad Dwarf has a small role and one of the best characters in the movie as the exterminator that comes in that's trying to kill off all these rats that are infesting this textile mill. And I love the few scenes in the movie, and he's one of the best performances. So overall, I had a pretty decent time with Graveyard Shift. Had some great practical effects. The atmosphere of the movie is really well done. Just a kind of lackluster story and performances, and definitely not the worst Stephen King adaptation I've ever seen, but definitely not one of the best. This movie came out in 1990, the same time the It miniseries came out, so that was definitely a lot better than this, and probably why a lot of people forgot about this movie. But if you've never seen it and you're looking for a few good scares, I would definitely check out Graveyard Shift during the Halloween season. I'm giving Ralph S. Singleton's Graveyard Shift from 1990 a 2.5 out of 5 Stephen King hair pieces. So if you guys have seen Graveyard Shift, what did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? What did you guys think of the monster in the movie and all the effects? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe. This is Logan Myerz signing out from the basement down here with all these goddamn rats. Until the next horror movie review in 31 Days of Horror. Cheers!